municipality. He asks, how much does it cost up to now to run the Commission's daily affairs? That's question number one. And question number two, are there comprehensive systems in place to monitor the implementation of Planning Commission programs down to his municipality, Mfuleni? Those are the two questions from OPA, Mfuleni local municipality.
Okay. The budget for the National Planning Commission in this year is the very large sum of 63 million rand. It's million with an M, because I'm emphasizing that some journalists thought that million is spelt with a B. It's million with an M. It's not a large amount of money, and I think that it's been exceedingly good value for money thus far. That has been the plan. In respect of municipalities, just yesterday we had a meeting with the South African Local Government Association, and part of the outcome of that meeting is that SALGA will be taking forward the proposals, because there are a number of proposals that involve local government. Urban local government, a number of issues relating to space, because space is so big. It's something we take for granted. But we don't seem to understand that the shadow of the Group Areas Act is still there. And we've kind of continued with this moving poor people very far from work. So transforming space is a fundamentally important local government issue. Along with that, changes to housing involving communities in social housing and so on is something that can best be done at local government. And then in rural areas, we're hoping that district councils will be able to bring together established farmers and aspirant farmers, so that when we speak of a 20% or transfer of 20% of agricultural land, it's not something that happens somewhere in the union buildings, but it actually happens where the land exists. And in some areas we've seen very solid progressive attitude from established farmers. And it's getting these systems to work that will depend very, very heavily on local government. And I left there very excited yesterday, because I know that SALGA wants to do this and be involved in the process.
All right, okay. We're running out of time, so we're going to give you that space, perhaps to introduce that little clip or that insert that you talked about.
I don't have to say any more. All I can ask is that you play it, and as people watch it, they walk away knowing that somewhere they know a Thandi. And the questions are abundantly clear. What do we do to ensure better outcomes? The story that you will see in the clip is that life for many South Africans is a lottery. It doesn't have to be. The object of planning is to remove the lottery and improve the chances. Okay. You've got 6.5 minutes of the clip. Thanks.
Can we dip the house lights?
You may ask why government needs a planning function. Surely that's sort of power.
Can we dip the lights?
What people can design policies. What we've seen in South Africa, the story told by the diagnostic released by the National Planning Commission, is that things go wrong. And it's very important to understand what goes wrong and to fix it. It's for this reason that the Planning Commission was set up to try to bring these issues together and focus on the future. So let's take all of these stories together, and then we share with you the story of Thandi. Thandi is a young African woman, 8 years old, passed grade 12 in 2010. She was part of a group of just under 1.4 million 5, 6, 7, and 8-year-olds who started school together in January 1999. But so many of those who started with her dropped out at various points. The bulk of them, some 46% in fact, drop out at high school between grades 8 and 12. so that the people who come through the system, there were only 600,000 left of Tandi's group by the time they sat to write grade 12. 30% attained education sufficient to get them into university, and a further 12% allowing them to enter a college to do a diploma. So it's a very small 25% of those who started have the opportunity to take things further. But out of that entire group, somebody like Tandi, who went to a school where virtually everybody is poor in Africa, and because she is a female, her chances were only 4% to get into university. Getting a university pass does not automatically mean that she would attend university. In Tandi's case, she couldn't. Financial and other reasons compelled her to remain at home and look for a job. In the first year, 2011, there was only a 13% chance that she would get a job. In fact, if one were to project this over the first 5 years after school, there's only a 1 in 4 chance that she would get a job. And once she has a job of earning an income above the median of 4,000 rand a month is down to a mere 2%. 1 in 50 of people who leave school will earn more than 4,000 rand a month in the first 5 years after school. She's likely to get a bit of piecework here and there. It may last a few weeks in one case, a few months in another case, but for that period and for, in fact, all of her working life, it's unlikely that she will earn above the poverty line of 418 rand a month. So this means for all of her childbearing years, she will be trapped in poverty. Her children will be born in poverty. The cycle of poverty will continue. In fact, ironically, the first time that she's likely to break through the poverty barrier would be when she turns 60 and then gets a state old age pension. It's an important story to understand because there are so many Tandis in South Africa, and education is a fundamentally important part of it, but it's not the only part. Access to healthcare, access to community services, whether this be water, electricity, sanitation, or broadband, access to public transport, whether there's a library in the community or not, all of these are fundamentally important parts of trying to improve on the lives of people in South Africa. And it's in understanding the story of Tandi that we can bring all of these issues together, bring them home, and ensure that the country can focus attention on every aspect of what needs to be done. We need coordinated and focused implementation. This will only happen if there's leadership within the country, within the province, within the village, within the school, within Tandi's peers. Everything needs to come together. We must ensure that leadership is interested, focused, and determined to drive the changes together. This is what brings planning into play that makes it so important in South Africa now.
The national plan has to attack the blight of poverty and exclusion and nurture economic growth at one and the same time. This will create a virtuous cycle of expanding opportunities, building of capabilities, reducing poverty, all of it involving communities in their own development and leading to rising living standards. Such a virtuous cycle requires agreement across society about the contribution and sacrifices of all sectors and interests. This will translate into greater confidence and a greater field of opportunities for individuals and the country. Growth and development and reducing poverty and inequality are the core elements of this virtuous cycle. Strong leadership throughout society, national consensus, social cohesion, and a capable state are its key enablers. For the virtuous cycle to work, you don't only need government, you need everybody. And the success of whether it's working is in the lives of the millions of people who, like Tandi, face a struggle to improve on the quality of their lives. That is the change that the plan must bring. That is the new form of accountability. That is the shift from where we've been to something new. It's a new story about South Africa, one that we will build together. Thank you very much for your interest in the life of Thandi.
Minister of the Presidency, Chair Manuel, thank you very much indeed for being our guest today on the program. I believe that clip is available on YouTube as well if people want to see it again.
It's one of two animations available on YouTube. The other is deals with the diagnostic, the 9 challenges, and there'll be more coming, so watch YouTube, engage with it. The graphic artists who are involved in this process are in the house with us. It's a big breakthrough because it's so innovative, and you can take very complex issues and communicate so that everybody gets involved, owns it, and I'm sure people now know why I'm so insistent that they meet Thandi. Thank you.
Minister, thank you very much indeed. And with that, I'd just like to say thank you to our audience here in the Sandton Convention Center, and also to viewers at home. Thank you very much indeed for joining us at this, the New Age SABC business briefing, where we've been talking about the National Development Plan 2030. And as you heard the Minister say, I think we all have to rally behind it, buy into it, and make it work. We're all in this together, I've heard the Minister say often, and I think this plan certainly is one that needs that collective approach. So from us here at Sandton Convention Center, thank you very much for joining us, and we go back to the studio with